Right, good morning everyone. Is everyone nice and comfy, well fed, well watered? Was that a word? Yes. Thank you very much. Perfect, caffeinated. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us today on this, it's actually Paragon's first ever Leicestershire or Leicester Business Festival event. So thank you very much. You're part of the first for us, and hopefully we can kickstart and do some more over the future years to come. Is anyone holding an event with the Leicester Business Festival this year? You are?
Yeah, we're coming on Thursday.
Pitch it. Tell us, where should we be?
So it's in Leicester University. We've got the former sales director of FedEx coming, and he's doing and talk on business retention and revenue growth for small businesses with aspiration to being a good business. So, perfect. I can give you a link to sign on after this.
No, fantastic. That's perfect. Thanks so much. Yeah, no, we'll make sure we'll try and get down if we can. But yeah, can't promise anything. But yeah, the Leicester Business Festival, I believe this is the 9th year. Big 10-year anniversary next year. So if you are looking to put an event on, I do highly recommend it. It's been great for us. We've had some good fun putting this together last night at 10 o'clock. No, so it's all been good. Awkwardly, I don't have a clicker, but I'm going to keep mooching down there to bend over. If you are going to be putting any tweets out, anything, or X's out now, if you're going to put anything on Instagram, LinkedIn, or Facebook, please do tag Paragon in it. We'd love to see the photos, the videos you're putting out there. And of course, these are the 2 official hashtags. The top one is Leicester Business Festival's hashtag, LBF 2023. If you do want to tag us in anything, please use LBF 2023 Paragon. We can see it, we can share it, give us some love for you as well. Brief introductions, that's going to sound arrogant. Hopefully you know who I am. I'm Rob Spence, Managing Director of Paragon Sales Solutions. I'm an overall sales nerd. I love sales. I've been in sales for the majority of my life. I've authored books on sales, given talks on sales, and still to this day I sell. This is my colleague, Connor. Connor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so good morning everyone. For those who don't know me, which I'm sure a few of you, I work with Rob. I'm one of the telemarketing executives, and I handle a bit of BD at Paragon as well. But it's something that I've taken up fairly recently, so a bit of thing, just over a year now. Everyone has me on LinkedIn, you might have seen, it was my sort of 1-year anniversary, so to speak. It's been a really, really good year, and that's why hopefully I have sort of the legs to stand on when it comes to talking about this sort of stuff, and to teach you guys a little bit about how it all works in that sense. But yeah.
Fantastic. In terms of today, we don't want to make it a sort of a sales pitch about Paragon, and at the same time we don't want to turn into a big learning journey for you. It's going to be a bit of a mixture of both. We're going to be talking about why telemarketing is still important in the digital age. I bet if I did a show of hands, every one of you will have LinkedIn. You've got email addresses, right? I'm sure you've all tried to market through social media. Telemarketing, let's not beat around the bush, is quite old-fashioned. We don't get yellow pages anymore. We can't start at the top of a list and call our way down, but it's still very important as an overall sales process. And hopefully in this seminar, if you do telemarketing, and there's a couple of you in the room that do, that you take away some key statistics, tips and tricks to help you get to the next level. If there's people in the room that quite aren't utilising telemarketing, then hopefully we can kind of turn that around and get you on the phone by sort of 5 o'clock tonight. Fair deal? Perfect. Bit of a quick icebreaker. Has anyone sold anything over the phone before, or has anyone bought anything over the phone before? Anything anyone would like to share? I'll start. I recently bought Taylor Swift tickets for a heavily exaggerated price over the telephone. So telephone sales does work. Any other stories anyone wants to share? Anything you bought or sold over the phone? Oh, go on.
Well, I've just asked the crazy floor. We work for selling the floor heating. So I was trying to actually sell the floor heating components and materials to obviously trade people in there. So yeah, that's actually a big part of my role, I suppose, or both of those, but yeah.
Fantastic. And if you don't mind me asking, what would you say is kind of your percentage of sales and sort of made or started on the phone? Is that quite high, or is it a secondary thing?
Yeah, I suppose it is, probably more so. We do get people come in, but yeah, more so, I'd say a bit million. Yeah.
Perfect, yeah. Perfect. So hopefully by the end of this, we're getting you all on the phone, start making some good sales. So as I said, this is a brief synopsis as to what we're going to cover today. So we're going to look at kind of like the first sort of half an hour to 45 minutes. We're going to be talking about the sort of the importance of telemarketing as part of an overall sales process, where it can fit, where you should fit it, and why you should do it. We're then going to talk about telemarketing on a more molecular level. So how you can make the most of your telephone conversations, how we can open people up, how we can overcome objections and how we can close them. Connor's going to take a big lead on those because Connor's got some exciting statistics to share with you in terms of the leads he's generated and the appointments he's booked over the past 12 months. Now, we did promise you all. Oh, no. I thought we had a guest speaker there, but we don't.
It's actually me, I'm the good speaker.
Yeah.
So these are just some stats. Obviously, stats aren't the most interesting thing ever, but telemarketing can be a bit of a numbers game. Even though we're speaking to people, and speaking to people isn't to do with numbers, it can be a lot to do with kind of the quantity you make. Now, these are sort of some agency stats that we see internally. Obviously, in 8-hour days, telemarketers make between 80 and 120 calls. If you replicate this internally, perhaps it won't be that high, but that's just obviously agencies are set up, so all the systems, the processes are able to sort of make those quantities of calls. But at the end of the day, the more calls you make, more leads you're going to get, the more likely you are to catch that person. If someone rang into the business right now, for example, and said, where can I speak to such and such? Well, you guys are all here. So there's no chance you're going to be calls on the phone at the moment. Something I always like to think about, I think if you ever get a sales training with Rob here, he'll bring this out maybe. But this jug is full of plastic balls. And not to say that your clients are all plastic balls, but if I can reach down one of these plastic balls, if I've got the right one, we haven't stuck with us here. One of these plastic balls is made out of gold. And that, in a sense, is your lead, that potential person in your day of calling who you're going to find on the phone. And obviously, if I reach into this bucket of 100 balls 5 times, I'm most likely going to pull out a white ball. I'm not going to find that golden opportunity who's going to spend thousands of pounds with us and sign on be the best client we've ever had. See, the more times I dip my hand into this bucket, the more times I'm going to bring out that golden ball. Depending on your type of business, it might change. You might only have one ball in 300 that is golden, or you might have 10 in 100. Obviously, it depends on how niche you are and what you're able to offer in that sense. But at the end of the day, the more times you can pick up the phone, the more times you can make sales.
Each for the system.
Now, what we see internally as well, and this is sort of can be a bit of an industry standard as well, is 1 to 2 leads a day over, let's say, 100 calls on average. And all the time people think to themselves, one lead after calling 100 times, is that worth the effort? That seems like a lot of time to put in for such a result. And that's really important when you look at it as a kind of overarching thing over the course of a year. Let's say we've got 260 days, working days. That's in a perfect situation where you never have sick leave, anything like that. You could possibly be looking at 490 leads in a year. Now, 390 leads, obviously not every single one of those would convert. Again, it comes down to sort of what your business is. But let's say you want a conversion rate at 10%. Okay, from making all those calls, getting all those leads, and at the end of the year, you now have 40 brand new clients, all could be spending potentially thousands of pounds with you. But if I said to everyone in this room, who would want 40 new clients by the end of the year? Would anyone put their hand up and say, what? I hate clients. That is the worst thing I've ever heard of. Now, it's all well and good you saying there's some pouring numbers on you, but is that actually replicable? Is it something where you can sit down and it can happen? And the answer to that is yes, mainly because I've done it. In my case, I worked 224 working days from the 1st of November to the 1st of November. I was very selfish and went on holiday a few times. I also got sick. So
that's ridiculous, isn't it? Like, you can't get a stuck these days.
Stuck on the wrist. But no, and I was able to produce 350 leads over that time. I think it was across sort of 20 odd different industries, some of which I hadn't have been involved with before. And it's one of those things that whenever you're selling, having a good base on understanding telemarketing and having that work ethic to be able to make a good quantity of calls. Again, it doesn't have to be 100, but as long as you're doing the right thing, those leads will come and you will see good results. That is what the stats tell us, and stats really don't lie because they don't have a math. But and a bit of a case study on that, Rob, if you can just go to the next slide. It's a very sort of general case study. We had a client we worked with, we're still working with them now, but at this point it was a 6-month campaign. We did 2 days a week for them, and we were able to sort of produce a better cost per lead than what they were saying for their paid advertising, things like Google ads and indirect marketing, email marketing, that sort of stuff. And that's not to sort of say we're amazing, but it's to say that telemarketing can be a really, really good way of puncturing for areas where you perhaps don't have too much success. These guys are gym membership software in this particular case, which obviously isn't applicable to everybody. But they were really struggling to get into places where their competitors already were. And through power of the telephone, we're able to sort of puncture those holes in what their competitors were doing and target the people who were able to then switch over and become great clients. But also, it then proved a higher conversion rate as well. We'd already spoken to these people on the phone. They all had a quite good understanding and liked who they were speaking to, hopefully. And with that, when they went on to the next step in the process, they were already warmer and more open to the idea of taking on, in this case, the new software. And obviously with that, complete return on investment plus extra sales at the end of the day, which is always nice as well. But that's just enough on steps before I sort of bore you all to death. And then Rob, is this next one
This should be the guest speaker. It is. So now we did promise a special guest speaker. You can't get too much more special than Connor and I know, we get it. But we pulled every piece of budget out of the hat, right? Everything that we had, every spare penny, every spare dime. And we were able to bring in and pay for Jordan Belfort's photo on this slide. That was the most we could do. But we got someone even better than Jordan Belfort. And someone even better than the Wolf of Wall Street. We were able to get the official Wolf of Leicestershire, that is John Woodcock. We all know who John Woodcock is, right? We've all met and known John Woodcock. Some people are going, who on earth is that? Some people have probably recognised his name from that episode of Rogue Traders. Now, unfortunately, John couldn't be with us today. It seems to be a series of unfortunate events. However, John has very kindly put together a video for us that I'd like to share with you. It's only about sort of 4 minutes long. And we'll let John do some talking as to why telemarketing is still important in this day and age. So, John, over to you.
Hi, my name's John Woodcock. I'm the Operations Development Manager for Parity Legal. I am also the co-founder and director for Arthur Jackman Growth Strategy Partners. Robert and Paragon Sales Solutions are an exemplary organisation and specialists of what they do. And one of those things that they are exceptional at is telemarketing, a subject that I know a little bit about. You know, I've been at work a long time. I've been in professional services and business development. Well, since my hair was black, which is a long time. For me, as I said, I've personally used it for sort of 25 plus years. So what is telemarketing? Telemarketing is telephone marketing. It is really that simple. It's about picking up the phone. For me, back in the day, and I still do it now, I walk about when I'm on the phone because I don't like sitting. And then as I know that other people have their own way of doing it. I do the smile before you dial, which is an old adage. And I always look to make 10 phone calls before 10 a.m. It's one of those things that has been instilled in me from the day that I started doing sales over the phone, which is telemarketing. It's all about talking to people. I know that there is exceptional technology nowadays. We use digital marketing. We walk around with mini computers in our pockets. In fact, I'm recording on one right now. But that in itself, the social media, is a one part of what you need to be doing in business. Paragon Sales themselves do social media and they do it incredibly well. However, digital marketing or social media is what it will do is it will nudge and it will move people and drive people in the right direction. And that should be to your website or to a landing page, but it won't sell. Okay? These are leads, and leads that need to be picked up by somebody like you or me. Somebody that can actually pick up the phone and market that opportunity out, pick up that lead as you reward and continue that conversation. I've done it myself many times. I even did it when I was in recruitment. Here's an example. Hi Rob, it's John. How are you? How's it going today? I'm willing to be part of a fantastic candidate. Somebody that's got 3-4 years worth of customer service, telemarketing and social media expertise. You mentioned the last time that we spoke that should I come across somebody like that, I should pick up the phone and tell you all about them and then arrange for them to come in and meet with you so that you could have a conversation. Telemarketing. It could be that you and your organisation might have a new product or service but no time to promote it. This is where telemarketing can help here. You might have loads of leads sitting on a back desk somewhere or on a computer, but you don't personally have time to build them. This is where telemarketing will come in and help you. Telemarketing should be a vital part of your growth, and it should form part of your marketing growth strategy. This is how businesses can progress, enhance, and advance. So if you need to put telemarketing as part of your growth strategy, speak to Rob and the guys at Paragon Sales Solutions. My name's John Woodcock. Take care. Have a great rest of the day.
I know he's not here, but I think John deserves a round of applause for what that happened there for us. So why telemarketing? We live in a very digital age. We live in a very, as John said there, we all carry around computers that are far more advanced than what put men on the moon several decades ago. For us, and what we recognise with a lot of our clients and when we speak to people, is that social media, digital marketing is great, but can also be very easily ignored. How many people have had a sales email hit their inbox? I'm sure you've had 10 by the time you've been sat down here. How many of you have hit the delete button the second it hits your inbox? Yeah, there we go. Pretty much everyone within the room, give or take. How many of you have made that connection with someone on LinkedIn and within 30 seconds you're getting the automated messages come through? Someone groaned there. Who was that? Who groaned? Oh. We want to hear it. Tell us. Yeah, please do. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. I do that very little stuff.
In this is keep through about 5 times, keep to this. And she says, "Hi, Leah, founder. Are you interested in joining 3 cutting-edge AI startups as they pitch premier VCs on best of their venture partners, Sutter Hill Ventures, Index Ventures, and more? Join Snowflake Startup Demo Day on 12th December to watch demos and learn about the data app trends, driving investment, and how founders are scaling these innovative companies." It's got nothing to do with me, and yeah.
Very boring, and also easily ignored, easily deleted.
And actually, no sign off either. It's quite literally hi, then she says something.
Just end it. Yeah. But I'm not here to completely slag off digital marketing, because we also do it as an agency as well. But it's the importance of picking up that telephone. I think Connor alluded to it earlier. It develops a much deeper connection than anything else. We can pick up the tone of voice. We can pick up emotions within a voice. We can be disrupted by telephone calls. Once again, if I rang any of your mobiles right now, I have no doubt you'd instantly look at your phone and see who was ringing you. That is the most disruptive form of marketing ever. You get an email, you can ignore it, leave it, move it to spam. But if someone picks up your phone, you're going to answer and you're going to want to carry on that conversation. But my viewpoints are backed up by statistics. This is not just me trying to pitch why telemarketing is so good, because my whole livelihood depends on it. It's proven. It's proven that telemarketing works. So Salesforce, probably the largest CRM system in the world, they did a study. The average success rate of cold calls is around 3%, with some companies reporting rates as high as 10%. Now, they also found that cold calls account for about 8% of sales. So it's still quite high, and it depends where you put that telemarketing as part of your sales process, which we'll come on to in a moment. Now, organizations that don't use cold calling experience 42% less growth. 42% less growth than those that did. Now also, if we then reverse engineer this, most salespeople have to sell to buyers. So for me, they're the best source of statistics. 71% of buyers want to hear from sellers early in the buying process. So although yes, if a buyer wants to buy something, they can go on a procurement website, they can Google something, hopefully you've got great SEO in place to allow people to find you. But what if you can give that buyer a little nudge, even before they've started to make those decisions? Connor, can I just ask, have you ever had, we didn't plan for this, have you ever had an occasion where you've called up a company as a cold call and they've said to you the words of, "Oh, we were thinking about doing that," or "We were just starting to Google that"? Have you ever had that experience before?
Oddly enough, I think it was on Monday.
Brad?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So we have a client who does solar energy installs. Bring up this birthplace, say, "Look, we're in the area doing solar energy." Bloody hell, do you know what? We're actually getting a couple of quotes in at the moment for that sort of thing. So let's see what you can do, see what's competitive, and that was the golden ball in that situation. There we go.
Yeah, and I don't want to put you on the spot, Emily. For those that don't know, Emily and I used to work together. I think The same happening for you on a cleaning contract? Any companies have that?
Literally, oh my God, we were literally just talking about this.
Yeah.
And it did this now. What it does, like it's like the buzz that you get on that is incredible. As in, what that generally does, it changes the way you're thinking at that time. It always starts a momentum. It keeps happening after that.
Yeah.
Your voice changes and the way that you're thinking accent.
Success breeds success.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
100%. So it does still work. So where does it fit into a sales process? We kind of talk about telemarketing a lot as a cold approach, and 100% it should be used as a cold approach. But actually, you can use telemarketing sort of anywhere within a sales process. Now, on the screen there is a tiny bit blurry. We've got probably the most generic sales process that we could find that could potentially fit into sort of any company, any industry. Every sales process is going to be a bit different. But of course, we need to prospect for leads. We need to have some contact. We need to qualify that lead, present an offer. We need to overcome objections. We need to try and close a sale or close a sale. And of course, the big one that everyone forgets to, but we should all be doing it, is generating referrals. That's a general sales process in a nutshell. Now, where we as an agency and where the majority of the clients that I work with on a sales training consultancy point of view, they use telemarketing sort of around steps 1 to 3. Okay, so they might use it to prospect for leads. That's the general cold calling instruction. They're going to start at the top of the yellow pages and work their way down. The beautiful thing about telemarketing is that contact is initiated pretty much instantaneously. You're there, you're having a good conversation. You also get the chance to qualify a lead, which we're going to come on to a little bit later on within the presentation. But please don't think that cold calling or telemarketing and picking up the phone just sits here. Telemarketing or implementing telemarketing into a sales process can fit literally within any part of this sales process. Let's say, for argument's sake, let's say your digital marketing team have generated some fantastic leads for you. So they've taken on step number 1. They've generated the leads. You've got an inbox full of leads to follow up with. Telemarketing is a fantastic way to incur that follow-up message. Once again, we're going to cut through a noise where if we respond to that email, even if it is a lead, they can delete the email, ignore the email, get distracted because they've got a social life, a social life, I don't know what that is, but a family life and everything else in between. That telephone is disruptive. We're going to pick up the telephone and have a conversation. Also as well, the telephone is great for closing sales, generating referrals. Hi, good morning. So I didn't want you to sneak in now. I had to kind of put the spotlight on you for a second. Sorry, please make yourself at home. It can be implemented anywhere. So if you are going to be taking on any telemarketing for yourself and your business, please don't think you only have to use it to cold call. Please don't think you only got to use it to qualify leads. You can implement it anywhere. If you're going to be having engaging conversations with people, picking up the telephone is the quickest and most surefire way to develop relationships, qualify clients, and for them to understand truly what your intentions are with them. So now I believe I'm passing the microphone over to Connor. Would you like the next slide?
No class fine, yeah.
Yeah.
So under the gatekeepers are people, in a way, as a gatekeeper, they're the people that are in between you and that decision maker, the person you want to get through to and make your sale with, generate that lead. So you might hire gatekeepers to do gatekeeping, the receptionist, things like that, or it might just be the person who picks up the phone whenever it rings, who has got lightning hands and straight there. So
Do we have any gatekeepers in the room? Ria's our gatekeeper.
I'll try and be nice then, Ray, don't worry.
Yeah.
And what a lot of salespeople and a lot of people will always say about is overcoming that gatekeeper. Now, I'm personally not a huge fan of the word overcoming, because it sounds like you're defeating, pushing past and beating, but that's not really what you want to be doing. With a gatekeeper, they are a person at the end of the day, and they work in a company. But you speak to the person that you want to work with, and if they say to that person, "Oh yeah, hi Steve, I've got a call for you today," he's all right, arsehole. But you are not getting anywhere with that, okay? And so what I like to sort of is the AB approach. And it's really easy to remember because A stands for authority and B stands for befriending. Those are the two ways I usually find getting past or through a gatekeeper is best. So making friends with them or giving them a sort of authoritative reason of why they should let them through in the first place. But both of these will hang with this lovely word here, which is reason. This is something I think can get left out quite a few times if you don't think about it. But having a reason for your call is an amazing way to actually reach the right person. All of them can ring up and say, hey, look, we are such and such, and we do such and such. Please let me speak to you, whoever handles your purchasing, or whoever handles your sales process, or all that sort of stuff. Obviously, the gatekeeper, if you're sat there, you think, here we go again. Right. Fucking the salesperson. Right. We've already all done that at some point. We've gone, oh, here we go, salesperson. And it harms you as you go in, because you just think, here we go, 10 a penny, here's another one. But let's say, for example, with that sort of one I mentioned I had on Monday, what we usually say to people as our reason is, we are in your local area, we're doing some installs for people nearby to yourself, and what we're doing is we're getting quotes out to people in the area so we can make a bit of a round trip for ourselves when we're there, right? And it sounds like a very simple thing, but my God, does that help so much? Because the people think to themselves, oh, that's around the corner, yeah, sure. So let me just pass it through to Bob, who handles our HSEQ, right, that sort of thing. And it works so well. And just to touch on the actual approaches themselves, John actually did a great example in his little video for us. And just starting off, not even going, hey, how are you? How's your day? Before you even say what you're doing, what you're calling, all that sort of thing. I've been a gatekeeper myself as well, and everyone sort of wants to speak to somebody else, and it can be a little bit disheartening. It's a little bit sad. As soon as someone says to you, how are you doing? I think, well, how am I doing? But you know what? That is so nice that you've asked me. I actually really appreciate that. And it helped build into a bit of rapport, which Rob will touch on later, with the company you're trying to sell to. Yeah, I know personally, there are a few companies who are sort of in my eyesight, my prospecting route at the moment, and I know the gatekeeper's dog's name, where they've been on holiday, how they do it, and every single time about that, I can guarantee you I will then reach that decision maker at the end of the day, because the gatekeeper seems to be my best friend. And let's go through the B there, the befriending. Now, the authoritative approach, I don't work as much, but it can work quite well as well. And that is sort of heavily reliant on that reason. It could be, let's say, anyone held a webinar or something like that. And they say, okay, well, brilliant. Can I speak to Rob? I say, Rob, can I speak to Rob, please? He's registered for our webinar, and we just want to make sure everything is sorted out. And they think, oh, I can, well, Rob's done that, Rob's going to engage with that sort of thing. And then, like, to put you through. The only thing I will say when doing either of these things is just morally and also because it's bad, never lie. Okay? Lying is awful. I've had people ring into the business before and they said, oh yes, we've spoken to Rob, we've spoken to Connor, please let us speak to them, that sort of thing. And when I actually speak to them, or I actually speak to them, I think, well, I've just been told I've spoken to you, but I have no idea who you are. You are a blatant liar, and it's bad. So yes?
I had some cold core room at home that was built with windows and stuff. And I said, quick, you're blind, no, how are you? They're like, what? We're finding it, and coming who are into us and how I am. And they said they recommend having the foods and delving your previously, so I buy a whole book of ones that remind me what it was. There's old due days of the tech.
Tell you about your data. Yeah, exactly. Brilliant. Yeah, so that is an amazing example. Trying to sort of sudge it and make your way through that way is never the right answer, because even if that person then does become in your sort of pipeline, the question will be asked, okay, brilliant, oh, you've lied to us. Oh, okay, do I want to work with liars? True. Right, it's never, oh, yes, yeah.
So in a sense, they also do that with probing, because they said, oh, we can do this to us until they're from your house, and then go our side as. So I was, you do know what sort you got played in the run, don't you? This is the first floor flat.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And they're looking at again the big window sort of cleaners up and all that sort of. Yes. Oh yeah, and that is a great.
Was that you, Connor? Was that?
That's why I know it's bad. No, it's it's always be honest with what you're doing. Obviously, you can border.
Cool, relationship selling. Available on Amazon. Might still be available in the Oxfam bargain bins as well. So just have a look between the two. If you do want to have a look, if you scan that QR code, you should be able to do it from where you are. That'll take you to my author's bio on Amazon. But one of the biggest things that ever changed my life when it came to sales, and in particular telesales, was a quote and a saying from one of the greatest sales trainers of our time, Jeffrey Gitomer, American sales trainer. A bit loopy, I think that's why I like him. And the quote that I read from him was, if you make a sale, you'll make a commission. But if you make a friend, you'll make a living. And sort of upon hearing that and sort of working on that along my teams along the years, it really revolutionised the amount of sales we made, but in a very ethical and customer-led focused manner. So objection handling. If you are selling, you are going to handle objections. You're going to hear objections. You're going to hear some rejections. You're going to be turned away. That's why I said to earlier, someone in the room, I said, if you're going to be a telemarketer, you need to be one of two things, either thick-skinned or a functioning alcoholic. If you're both, then you are for a winner. Connor, which one are you? No, we won't do that. But you are going to handle objections. And now I believe it's back onto you now, Connor, to talk about objection handling.
So objections, the best way I could think of sort of explaining how it works telemarketing is using BANT, which is usually a qualification process you guys probably have seen before, budget, authority, need, time. And it's a very, very common thing. I'm pretty sure everyone in this room would have encountered it at some point. But with telemarketing, it can be a little bit different to sort of we see outside of that space. Just as if you can't handle an objection on the phone for any one of these things, that lead will more often than not be completely dead in the water, because you have a few minutes of someone's attention, and if they say to me, okay, brilliant, Connor, well, that sounds great, but how much is, how much is this going to cost me? I have X amount, and I know this is going to cost X times 5, right? So if I cannot come over that, I will never get the chance to speak to that guy again. Because every time I bring in, he's going to think, oh, here you go. Here's the guy with the bloody expensive thing I can't afford. There's no point in speaking to. It will usually never happen for it. So when you're going in to a sales call like that, you have to be able to be expecting everything you're going to have coming at you, almost dodging bullets in a sense, and putting past it. What you never want to do this is sort of push the objection to the side, okay? There is actually, oddly enough, a method which goes against that, which says, okay, well, if budget wasn't an issue, would you like to sign up and try this and give it a go? And sometimes I might go, yeah, budget's the only problem. In which case, brilliant, come back to the budget and say, well, okay, actually, if it's not right for you now, what we can do is put a special deal together for you. We could perhaps look at spreading it over a period of time, all that sort of stuff, and sort of reconfirm that you are able to meet their standards. And even if you can't, getting them in the sort of the process to begin with, sometimes they even go, you know what, I really value what you're doing here. But what the issue, okay, telemarketing is if you can't overcome that objection, it falls flat. So coming into what I like to do is I'll have this right in front of me. Common objections I find every single time. If someone comes away from a call and they say, Paul, that was a rough one. He just said, how do you overcome this issue that I'm facing? Or I'm currently using this competitor, how do you differ? If you do not know that beforehand, you may have just lost the link. But like I say, there are more out there, don't worry. Always go away, find out the best possible answer you can have to that question. Because when you're on a call, you're probably going to be speaking to that guy for the first time, or girl for the first time. And if you have a list of the perfect responses to every question, then you've pretty much cheated the test. If you're able to say to them, look, this is how we fit in with your current pricing methods, this is your current competitors, and this is what we're doing better, and this is the time scale that comes into it. Obviously, don't raise objections if they haven't made any. But having that sort of cheat sheet in front of you will be sort of your key to getting them in your next sort of step in the process. And what is the next slide that goes over that sort of stuff? Closing technique, brilliant, yeah. So this actually ties into your closing techniques as well, because sometimes even if someone has an objection, you can still sort of usher them along in your process so they can sort of have that objection overcome when they're a bit more solidified in the offering, they know a bit more about it. Perhaps you've got them to sit down for a Zoom meeting or something like that, which I know sometimes everyone hates Zoom meetings, but you have them in front of you, they can see you, and you can build that relationship further. And sometimes those objections sort of flutter away. But when you're on the phone, it can be a little bit fickle. They're already, when you think about it, one press away, one hang up, you're gone. Okay, so you need to make sure that they can get them into these next steps. What closing techniques are so important. And where I've seen certain clients and other people fall down is that their call to action, their next step from the phone, can sometimes be a bit of a large step. that can be a bit of a turn off. You know, someone's called you out of the blue. You don't actually know who they are. You don't have any sort of validity about them until, you know, that next step has gone forward and they can understand better that you are a real person, so to speak. So if you say to them, okay, brilliant, lovely speaking to you, John, let me send you an invoice for £10,000. Right, no one's really going to do that. So a lot of the time, whether it be providing, and obviously on the business, but a demonstration, an audit, an example, case study material that they can process, it has to be realistic. Most importantly, it has to be simple. Because you're all busy people. If you've ever had sales calls before, they've probably gone off the call in about 2 minutes. You think, what was his name? Where's he from? What does he do? Completely forgot. And so you have to make it nice and simple for the person to follow that, actionables, so to speak. The fewer actions they can take while still being retained in your cycle, fantastic. Okay, if you could literally make it call, meeting, sale, that is the best sales process you've ever seen in your life. But it is a lot easier for the prospect to go down that sort of stream. If you get to them and you have to jump through hoops, go around corners, run through a maze, you're going to lose them in that cycle. And the thing about that as well is, no matter how simple the offering is, it's really important to know when to sort of present them with that next step. If I run in at the very start of it with a Rob, I know you struggle with handling your finances. He doesn't. Let me get you in for a meeting with this thing. We can solve all your issues. We can make you loads of money. Love it. You know, he's immediately going to go, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do. No. Right? And that's the sort of thought. Once you get to a flat, hard no, it is very, very hard to come back off that and spring back. Because in their mind, they've already sort of shut the conversation down and said, I've had enough of this. Right? So going in for the close, you want to be sure that your prospect is going to say yes, which obviously is an ideal world. But you want to minimise your chances of them just coming at you with a no. So what I like to do, personally, is when I'm on a call with someone, you want to make them say yes a few times to begin with, even asking how your day is. They go, oh, yes, I'm doing great, thanks. It opens them up to being a bit more positive. You ask them about their problems, you ask them about what they're currently facing, and then obviously you go into, how does that sound? Does that sound like something you could benefit from? Yeah, I guess it does, yeah. Well, in that case, let me put forward to this next step. Going in any earlier and being met with that sort of brick wall, I don't know about you, but I don't like running into brick walls. They are quite painful. That's why I didn't make it as a stuntman, but it's one of those things that you always get a feel from. Telemarketing is great in the sense when you're speaking to that person, you're having a conversation. Obviously, you can go with a flow of it. And if I'm speaking to someone and they're speaking, yeah, it was sure, yeah. You obviously need to warm them up a bit before you say, look, let me send you an invoice, let me send you an invite, all that sort of stuff. Because they're very close off to it. As soon as that phone goes, you're out of their space. Maybe they're just not being rude and hanging up straight away. They're not going to think about it again. So when I'm speaking to someone and I can get them to be a bit more positive, open up, that is the perfect time to then go into that next step. Leave it too late. You might even tell them a bit too much about what you're offering, and they don't want to step into the process because they think they already know enough. So it's finding that sweet spot, which in the weirdest way possible, you'll get a niggle for when you're on there. It's like when you're fishing, you'll feel that little tug and think, oh, brilliant, there we go, buying signals, I can see they're getting interested. That is the time when you go in for the close on that. And then assumptive and an open close, I like the word open close to opposites. These are two of the different ways to go about it. The most common ones we'll see when telemarketing. Assumptive, very simple. You assume they're going to say yes. I say, oh, brilliant. Austin, are you going to be free next week on Wednesday at 2 p.m? Let's get you in for a call. And you think, and then sometimes I might go, yeah, sure. And that's it, done. And the open close is obviously a bit nicer. Some people don't like an assumptive close as it feels a bit sort of strangling. An open close is so look, tell you what, when are you free? Let's get something in them, darling. Let's sort of move forward with this. Let's get this sorted out. Even if you're chasing reviews or referrals at the end of your process, that would be brilliant. Well, if I get you booked in for a bit of a case study session at some point in the next few weeks, would that be all right with yourself? If they say yes, brilliant. Bring up your calendar, bring up the next steps, going through that. There are other ways to do it, but those are sort of the two main ones. There's not too much else to say. But yeah, is this net for me or is it?
Oh, it's on to me.
That's you, the net.
Now, right, I'm not going to do a show of hands because we've all done it. Oh, go on, Rich.
It's just going to say, be careful of pushing a sell for sellers like deals of what. So is that what a seller should be? Is that your like?
That's a good way of looking at it. Yeah.
Really personal, I get really wound up by sales people who say, oh, our sales didn't mean that your sales, someone with them sales sound.
Yeah. Try and personalise it a bit more, perhaps. Yeah. No, good valid point. No, thank you. I mean, we've all been guilty of it. I won't do a show of hands because it could be a bit awkward, but I will. Who here has sent out a proposal, sent out a quote for work, and never followed up? Oh, people I've got a show of hands. 2 hands. About Matt's over there. But we've all done it, right? We've closed the individual. We've sent them all, tried to close. We've sent over a quote, a proposal, and we sit and we wait. And we wait and we wait and we hope. And we sit there and hope one day that prospect, that lead, that client is going to come back to us, right? And if they don't, it's because they're time wasters, tire kickers. I'm not going to waste my time on them. But the importance of the follow-up is absolutely crucial to sales. And once again, there's some statistics that base around it. Now, we've kind of got back to an original slide where we said that the success rate of cold calls is around 3%. So we need to do what we can to actually up some of those results. Now, this is a very simple graphic. I share a lot with the sales training that I deliver. But what we tend to find, and we even find it when we just try to generate a lead, what we tend to do is we find the greatest success when we've had around 5 to 12 points of contact. Between 5 to 12 points of contact. And there's 2 ways of looking at this follow-up process. It could be that we've had a lead come through. We've had someone fill in our online inquiry form. They could have booked in for a meeting with us. And we email them and they ghost us. We call them and we ghost us. I'd say probably 90% of salespeople will give up there. But now I've told you that 5 to 12 points of contact will give you 80% chance of taking that sale on further. What I'm hoping you'll do within all of your sales processes is you'll make sure that if you ever get a lead, whether you meet someone at a networking event, whether someone emails into you, whether someone reaches out to you on LinkedIn, you should be following that person up between 5 to 12 times. It's the same for when you send a quote, a proposal, when you try and do some work for someone. And for me, there's 2 reasons for this. One, following up develops a really close personal relationship with someone. It shows that you care. I think in this day and age of digital marketing, and I don't apologise for the analogy, but people treat sales and marketing like Tinder or Grindr or Bumble or one of the 7 million dating apps these days. You can't wait to know which ones I've got. But what they tend to do is have it as a swipe across mentality. Let's see how many LinkedIn messages we can send to Emily King before she gets fed up and deletes and blocks me. Let's send 10,000 emails to 10,000 people and hope that one person is going to do business with me. But we need to develop those personal relationships with people. Following up will do that. Following up will prove that you want to do business with someone. Secondly, we all have very busy lives and busy schedules. We've got personal lives, we've got social lives. Some people play golf, Matt. You know, they're on the golf course too often. So people get very busy, very overwhelmed. It's quite hard to see Matt actually, to sat right behind the line. So I hope it's like a little weird halo. But we've all got lives. The problem is, no matter what it is you're selling, and I mean this with no disrespect, you are not your prospect's biggest priority. There is no ifs, no buts about it. They've got other things. Yes, of course, when they originally reached out to you, their desire levels were really high. They really wanted to talk to you. But the second they click submit on that inquiry button, the second they've read through your client proposal, they could get a text message from a family member that something's gone wrong. They could have a business emergency that they need to deal with. Following up will prove to your prospect that you truly want to do business with them, will develop that personal relationship, and will keep you at the forefront of your prospect's mind. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, takes us to pretty much the close of our presentation. We've gone through this far quicker than I thought. We should have done that comedy skit, shouldn't we? That's what we should have done. We should have squeezed that in. But no, you're right. Yeah. But what we can do, please do make sure any photos you've taken, please do share them on socials. We would like to invite you to take part in a bit of an open Q&A. You know, myself and Connor are here. If we've kind of invigorated any questions within yourself, please do ask. Is there anything you'd like to add?
Sorry, myself and Connor and Piers, or Connor and I can't.
Oh, sorry. We'll edit that out of the. Perfect. Well, Connor Connor and I are here. Has anyone got any questions I'd like to? Yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, mate. Yeah.
can you just cover a little bit about points and look at telemarketing because the rules have changed about being ring the.
Yeah.
Can you just
Absolutely. For a second, I thought you meant financial compliance, and I absolutely bobbed myself. Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we've all heard of that GDPR that came out. I think it was 2018 now, I think. Scarily enough, GDPR. Yeah, we panicked. So Emily was with me from pretty much day one of starting the business. We just set up this telemarketing agency, and all of a sudden we get paperwork on our desk for GDPR. We thought, well, that's it. We've been in business a month, we've got to close the door. You have to be very careful with GDPR. When we conduct telemarketing, we're always conducting, well, primarily B2B campaigns, so business-to-business campaigns. Now, the legalities around GDPR are very, very complex. However, what we tend to find is there's a very strict line within GDPR that says you can contact people for any business requirements. And you've put me on the spot, Matt. I forget the actual term. And yeah, legitimate interest. Legitimate interest. Thank you very much. Yes. So as long as you're trying to contact and open up someone for a legitimate interest, then of course you can. If you're trying to sell dog food to a financial advisory firm, then I'd say there's probably not much legitimate business interest there. But if you truly feel that you can help and support and provide better business and ethics to a company, you're actually doing the right thing by opening them up. You have to be careful. You've got to make sure that any telephone number you call isn't part or attached to the CTPS, so the Corporate Telephone Preference Service. So please do run a little check to make sure that they're not as part of that. Obviously, if you're calling people at home and calling people on on their home phone, on their landlines, or even a mobile, once again, you've got to make sure that you've obtained their mobile phone number legitimately. If you bought it on a floppy disk from Croft Car Boot, one would argue that that's probably not the best thing to then call up. If someone's given you consent to market to them by providing their telephone number, or it's readily available on their LinkedIn profile, once again, you've got a legitimate business interest to open up and engage. And then just to kind of caveat that and just to protect myself a little bit, of course, at any stage, if anyone wishes to be removed from your databases, under GDPR, you've got a right and a legality to do that. Does that answer the question? Running the point. Thank you very much. Any other questions at all? No. So I guess the main question I'd like to pose to you, for those of you that haven't tried telemarketing before or even considered telemarketing, who is now motivated to go home or back to the office and pick up the phone? Yeah, I'm getting some nods, getting some tentatives. We do recommend it. The purpose of this seminar is to empower you, to give you enough knowledge and information, confidence to get away and pick up the phone. Although Connor's statistics are really impressive, and I love the fact that he's done it to big himself up. Well done, Connie, you look amazing. You don't have to start by cold calling for 8 hours a day. What my recommendation is block out what they used to call, I think John mentioned it, that power hour in the morning. Between 10 and 11, turn off your emails, turn off your WhatsApps, turn off all distractions, and just have a target of 10 or 20 people to call and have good conversations with. I assure you, and I promise you, if you do that, your business will grow. Within a week, if we look at kind of statistics, 5 days in a week, 20 calls a week, you're going to get one solid lead from just an hour or two's calling a day. If you can convert 1 in 4 of those leads, all of a sudden you've got more clients to deal with. So please go away and do so. But to close off, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate it. We can hang around for some more networking. There's still ample coffee and maybe pastries. Please hang around and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.